Welcome to the Fish House Nation podcast. We're at the St. Paul Ice Fishing Show. I'm with Ashley Ray. Ashley, how you doing?
I am great. This show is honestly blowing my mind. We have ice shows in Canada where I'm from, but this is the biggest ice show that I've ever been to, and I think this is one of the biggest there is.
It is. It is the biggest in North America. I don't know if they have bigger ones in Europe or not, but it's dubbed as the biggest one in North America, but we'll say it's the biggest one in the world. And this is your first time here?
First time here. This show has actually been on my bucket list for a long time, just hearing so much about it on social media, and I finally decided that I'm going. So this year I drove from where I live to Syracuse, New York. I flew from Syracuse to Detroit, Detroit to here. So two plane rides and a car ride, and
you're here.
And it's been amazing.
That's quite a trip to get here.
It is.
So what's been kind of the most exciting thing that you saw, or what's something that you're like, I didn't think I would see this when I got here?
To be honest, amazed by especially the people I get to meet, like yourself. As I mentioned, I'm a fan of the podcast, so I didn't expect to run into you here. And then the fish houses.
Right.
Are you guys the wheel houses, the fish houses, the ice castles, whatever you call them?
Yeah.
We don't have them in our area, and I've seen videos of people out on the ice, and it just blows my mind. It's like nicer than a hotel.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
Pretty nice. Let's talk about where you're from then. You've alluded to that a few times.
Yep.
Where are you from, and how do you fish?
So I'm from Southern Ontario, Canada,
okay.
And I fish year-round, multi-species. We're actually, a lot of people at the show have thought that I'm more north, but I'm actually just east of here. And we're starting to get a bit of ice, so hopefully ice fishing soon. But I fish all year, do a lot of kayak fishing, and boating as well. I haven't had a boat for a couple years, but I will have one next year. So I try to do everything from ice fishing, kayak fishing. I even do carp fishing, like the European style.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun.
I do as many different types of fishing as I can.
Yeah, that carp fishing, I always tell people, if you're going to catch and release, then it's just like any other fish. It's a lot of fun. They're big and they fight hard.
They are massive, and they can be massive, and it's just such a fun fight. And I use the European style gear, so I've got like the pods and the bite alarms, and one thing that really impresses me about carp fishing is the fish care, especially in Europe. So some of those practices I've taken into other species. Like if they are going to weigh a fish, they have a sling. So I've actually used the sling to weigh walleye out on Bay of Quinte as opposed to hanging them vertically. And I mean, measuring fish is always good, but there's something special about like a fish hitting like a 10-pound walleye hitting the scale. So it's just a nice way to weigh them that keeps them horizontal. So
10-pound walleye is something that people here in Minnesota are like, that's what they're really interested in. And you live near the Bay of Quinte, and that's a place where you can go out and catch a 10-pound walleye on any given day. Tell me a little bit about ice fishing the Bay of Quinte.
Yes, so what's really unique about that fishery is the walleye are migratory. So they come in from Lake Ontario into the Bay of Quinte in the fall. So like, late fall or late summer, early fall, they start to migrate in. And it just creates an opportunity where they're more condensed as opposed to out on Lake Ontario. And the fall fishing is phenomenal, like out there trolling, and then ice fishing as well. So it gives people the opportunity to walk out and catch, the fish of a lifetime.
Right.
So it's just such an amazing fishery. So I'm from that area, but I actually live in Ottawa now, which is a couple hours away, but I try to get there as much as I can.
Get down there once in a while.
Yeah.
Tell me about, I know another thing that you do a lot of, I'm watching your YouTube. Her YouTube channel is She Loves to Fish.
Yeah,
lots of great stuff there, especially if you like. The thing that I enjoyed most was watching kind of the backcountry stuff.
Okay.
And you going back into places where it's just not accessible. I think there was one video I saw you did 3 portages to get back to where you're going. Tell me about that and what that's like.
Yeah, so as I said, I like to do variety of fishing types, and kayak fishing is one that's pretty special to me. And I didn't grow up in a fishing family, so I got into fishing on my own, and the first watercraft that I purchased was a kayak. So what it opens up is opportunities to get off the beaten path, and there's a lot of boat ramps that aren't so friendly for boats, like bigger boats. So the kayak I can get in pretty much anywhere, and it just opens up amazing fishing opportunities where it's not very busy and not fished a lot. So that's something that I think no matter what watercraft I have, what boat I have, I'm always going to enjoy those experiences too.
Well, let's talk about some ice fishing that you're doing up in Ottawa, though.
Yes.
What's kind of your favorite thing to chase after when you're ice fishing in your neck of the woods?
In my area, I would say Probably crappie, like black crappie. There's really good fishing for that. Honestly, it's tough for me to choose. I like it all. Last few years, I've gotten more into fishing for burbot.
Okay.
So it was on my bucket list, and a friend of mine introduced me to it 3 years ago. So you know, I'm using all my walleye gear for that, and getting into burbot. Canada has some pretty big burbot too. Like in our area, we see more of the average, like the smaller size. But there's Lake Simcoe. I'm sure you've heard of it. The Ontario record from there is like 18 pounds.
That's a big
burbot. And then in Saskatchewan, the IGFA world record burbot was from Lake Diefenbaker, Saskatchewan, 25 pounds. So, you know, we've got some amazing burbot waters. So, walleye, Bay of Quinte walleye is something that's I would say my favorite. I think those are like the favorites for me. So.
You made the trip here this weekend to come to the show. Do you have any ice fishing trips on the calendar for this year? Anything you're really excited about?
Yes, and on the burbot note, I'm actually planning to come to Minnesota late February, early March for burbot in one of these fish houses with Brett McComas, Target Walleye.
Very cool.
And to me, that's like a bucket list opportunity. So that I plan to travel a bit further north in Ontario for probably first ice, because there's a place that I fish a lot called Elliott Lake. I've been doing some tourism work with them this year, just promoting the fishing opportunities. So I'm planning to go up there. They have some trout lakes, and so I'll probably go there first, and then I'm going to spend a lot of time on Quinte this year too. So
very good. Anything else you want to share with our audience before we wrap it up here?
No, I think that's it. I mean, I'm so happy to chat with you. It's so cool. I was saying to Chris that whenever I'm traveling, it's one of my go-to podcasts, so it means a lot just to get to chat with you and meet you. So,
well, I appreciate you. It was really fun to meet you and hang out with you a little bit this weekend, and I really appreciate you listening and just hanging out with us. So
for sure, I'll be listening, and maybe we'll chat again. I'm going to do more trolling on out on Lake Ontario when I get back into a boat, so maybe we can chat about that sometime.
Very good. It's Ashley Ray from She Loves to Fish on YouTube. Thanks so much for watching our coverage from the St. Paul Ice Fishing Show.